Hello, everyone. Good evening. Okay, y'all good students. That's great. Welcome to the Wanda Coleman Theater at Beyond Baroque. My name is Genesis, and I'd like to start by acknowledging our presence on the unceded territory of the Tongva, Tataviam, and Chumash people. Beyond Baroque stands in solidarity with these communities who've endured colonialism and displacement. We stand against genocide, and we are committed to providing a space for Indigenous artists and communities as the original stewards of this land. Beyond Baroque is a place dedicated to the possibilities of language founded in 1968 by George Jury Smith. We started out as an experimental literary magazine until it evolved into the interdisciplinary space it is today. This building we are currently in served as the original Venice City Hall, and since the late 70s, it has been a host for artists and writers. We continue to offer our Monday night fiction workshop with Raquel Baker and our Wednesday night poetry workshop, which is the longest running free poetry workshop on the West Coast. And it is currently led by poet Martin Yago. Both workshops happen weekly over Zoom. Please check our website for updates and information about how to join those workshops and the facilitators as well. We also have lots of events coming up here physically in this space. Next week on June 19th, we are hosting a Juneteenth double book launch for poetry in Afro diaspora and Chamarita song. On June 20th, we are hosting an art market, poetry reading, and open mic in honor of Federico Garcia Lorca's 90th birthday. This will be a Pride-themed reading. Please come and join us in celebration. And check out our calendar at beyondbaroque.org to find out more information about the programs next week, and the week after that, and the week after that, and beyond, beyond, beyond. And of course, if you would like to support Beyond Baroque and want to help this art space thrive, you can become a member. Memberships start at $75. And in spite of the challenges we're facing, we have a really amazing community of members and people who just keep showing up and supporting us time and time again. And that's one of the wonderful things about this space. Last but not least, a huge thank you to the Beyond Baroque team. We got Eric in the booth. We have our artistic director, Jimmy Vega, programs manager, Ivan Salinas, operations and development assistant, Rhiannon Cielos Chavez, our Poetry Coalition fellow, Barbara Font, and our social media intern, Annika Zoe-Duenas, and our website and gallery manager, Jody Zellin. Thank you all again for joining us for this launch for Rogue Astronaut by Mitchell Jacobs. I'm a huge X-Files fan, so I'm really excited to see how tonight is gonna go. And I'm also thrilled to announce our first reader. Darren Donate is a PhD candidate in literature and creative writing at the University of Southern California. His poetry is forthcoming in the Penn Review, and he has recently been published in Hunger Mountain Review, issue number 33. He is currently working on a small chapbook of poems. Please, everyone, give up a huge round of applause for Darren.
Hi, everybody. Can you hear me okay? Yeah. Yeah, it's really awesome to be here. I was just thinking, you know, when I was 16, I came down here to see Victoria Chang, and I didn't have a license at the time. And I think I was using my brother's car, and I was white knuckling the steering wheel the whole time, hoping they weren't going to stop me. But I came, and it was a really magical experience, and it made me feel really connected to this community. So, you know, I really love this place. So thank you so much, Beyond Baroque. And I want to say thank you, Mitchell, for inviting me. You know, I was able to see a lot of the poems from Rogue Astronaut and Mark Irwin's his manuscript workshop, and just seeing them come alive and being there is really special. And one of the first workshops that Mitchell and I had, or one of the first ones I was in, was with Robin Cost Lewis. And there's this great poem that Mitchell brought in about a silicone replica. And when I first read it, I looked over to my wife and I was like, "Oh, this is a really." It was so important to me at the time because I'm like, I'm surrounded by people that are so talented, and it made me feel really cemented in that decision. So you're an important poet to me, Mitchell, and I really appreciate that. All right, guys, I'm going to read some poems from that little chat book. The first one is a family tree. I know you can't see it, but hopefully it gives you context for where I come from. It's called Chingones. Chingones. The first blood, the first mixed blood, booze hound blood, blood that spread like hormigas and wild grass, blood that irrigated the soil, bled only for himself, trail of blood, last seen 1912, hated his blood, only a small spot of blood, tongue that bled one too many truths, blood of the archangel, bastard blood, wrench dodging blood, right of blood, tungsten blood, blood we don't talk about. And my heart, and my heart, and my heart, it has all this blood running through me. My father's never been to a therapist, and I don't think he'll ever go to one, but this poem's for him. Dominoes. When the family therapist asked about his childhood, he looked down at the soft bruise of light that pooled at his alligator boots and thought back to the dappled mule tied to his sun-beaten palm and the freshly cut switch his grandfather carried between belt loops, thought about the brothel his brothers visited every fall after harvest, and remembered them climbing through the window, their bodies sweating agave, and his oldest brother pressing a palm to his mouth, whispering, "Don't wake mother." And the morning after, helping the priest disperse the ashes, when it was his turn to receive them, closing his eyes tightly, feeling like he was falling through himself, a single flake cutting through the air, and remembered he was told not to climb the shattered stone stairway down to the plaza, where a man who was said to be his father spent every evening at a table outside the cantina, his small fingers gliding over the ivory tiles, his light touch divining the boneyard, looking up at the man who was said to be his father and asking, "Can I play?" I think it was 3 days ago, I read that they injected, I think it was like $70 billion into ice. And I've been thinking a lot about that and just kind of recent events. And still kind of thinking about, I think, the sacrifices that some people in our community and in our world make, to try to make a better place for us. This poem's called "Shaving My Head for the First Time. I think about my father, Renee Good, and her father. My father never let my brother or me cut our hair short, afraid we would be mistaken for cholos, animal shelter pit bulls, the archetypical Mexican Hollywood-made Noel Guglielmi famous for. He didn't want to raise white boys, but didn't want dead boys either. Older now, and only a few weeds of hair left, I take the razor to my scalp and yield to what he was afraid I would be, the profile of a threat. I think of him lying in bed with my mother, worn from welding, in boiler rooms and machine shops, days fizzled from making another white man rich, but always tracking, semi-conscious, the images on TV, worried about what was unfolding in this world, but powerless to stop it. His biggest fear was to see us on the news or in the back of a police van. He believed he could save us from this nation's rage, bright as atom bombs. They said Renee was alive for 8 minutes after, and the President of the United States said he hopes her father is still a fan of his. I wonder how Renee's father must have felt watching the news and later hearing there was a part of America that consolidated her death was deserved, and how back in 1999, to be undetected meant to act white, and how that's not enough these days. The nature of camo keeps changing, structural oppression continues to sophisticate, and how no one's father can really protect them from a white man's hair trigger. My father always wanted us to behave with self-preservation as priority. Back in the days of Prop 187, and we still had neighbors that voted yes, they shut down the schools, and my brother marched, and came home that evening, proud that he had done something so small. And my father, in hysterics, forced my brother to take off his shirt and beat him with a welding cable, and told him he was doing it out of love for him. I don't know how we could keep each other alive, my mother patting my brother on the shoulder, saying he's doing it for your own good. When I see the hair accumulated in the sink, I know it doesn't make a difference. Renee didn't look the part, and they cut her down just the same. This next poem is called Oldies. I keep thinking I gotta deactivate my Spotify because of AI and algorithms and stuff, but we'll leave it for now, for the time being. Oldies. The other day, the algorithm decided to remind me of you and started shuffling through the oldies, the kind where they always find each other in the end. And I thought about how they all sounded the same, hands auditioning other hands, lips colluding with other lips, and how there are no love songs like ours, like when I asked, will you marry me? And we went to a pawn shop. I gave the broker $200, and you traded in your washing machine. Later, your mother's ex-boyfriend gave you a better ring, and I didn't mind because you said it was meant for your mother, so it was yours to keep anyway. It was the third and last ring he bought her. The love always went out before she said yes. He buried the ring in the round pen raised for her horses and planted watermelon seeds and let the tendrils shoot wild in the enclosure. When you told him about our engagement, he took a shovel and spent days looking for the ring, trying to retrieve its shine, stabbing the dirt, exhuming his love, resurrecting it, the old music returning, like two lovers talking about a future, itinerant but real, and everything perfectly symmetrical. I have one last poem. My father worked his whole life here in Los Angeles in the factories. He was a welder. My uncles did as well. They spent their entire lives. And now my father's practically the last one left. So, yeah, this is for them. How unfamiliar this name. How unfamiliar this name, stitched on to the brown work coat I'm required to wear. Today I am Pedro, tomorrow Rodrigo, but tonight let us unpack the long hours by drinking mezcal. I will drop a pebble, and you will watch it fall to the base of the glass. We will take turns gulping, choking, waiting for the same piedrita to come up and touch our lips. We will do this until the bottle is near empty. Hermano, I do not know where Pedro begins and Rodrigo ends. Will you tell me the difference? Call me Spick, call me Mojado, just don't call me by this name. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Darren. Our next poet is Maxwell Suzuki. Maxwell Suzuki is a queer writer who lives in Los Angeles. He is on the staff of The Rumpus and Split Lip Press. Maxwell is the author of the fiction chapbook Voyager 2. This is Voyager 1, over, Goldline Press 2024. And the poetry chapbook Bust of an Athlete, Iron Horse Literary Review 2024. His work has appeared in Black Warrior Review, Craft Literary, Lunch Ticket, The Normal School, and South Dakota Review. Everyone, please give a round of applause for Maxwell Suzuki.
I just want to thank everyone for coming here. Thank you, Mitchell, for inviting me. And thank you, Beyond Baroque. It is an amazing space. And I will say that I met Mitchell a few years ago when we were at AWP at Kansas City. And I'm very happy to have him as a friend. And I'm excited to hear Rogue Astronaut. So I'll be reading a few poems from the chapbook and then a few new ones. The chapbook is Bust of an Athlete, which is, it follows a speaker reminiscing and thinking about a past crush, while the form of the chapbook is very much a tour through a museum. And so quite a few of them are ekphractic. This one is ekphractic, and it's titled Attic Red Figure Kylix. A Kylix lip dripping of cork-tainted Pinot Noir. Drunk, yes, too drunk, but isn't that the point? The truth I can't imagine as I beg him for a kiss, and he can only stare uncomfortably at his lap. Somewhere, a doe is being hunted, a raven-feathered child is attempting to fly, a gay man is writing love poems to a boy he once knew in high school. The decade after, scraps of shattered porcelain, of White Claws and Moscow mules, fettered crocus in the ridge of an Adam's apple. These grapes split by calloused heels, a shallow beak, a boy's voice thinned with water. Wine, if left out long enough, turns to vinegar, an ex says to me once after we fuck. And yet both are still bitter. At a bar, I order glass after glass of their cheapest wine, gulping it down nonchalant as it stains my dress shirt. Collecting hair, cigarette butts, bottle caps from the bartender for the nest I am building outside my dorm room window. Someday he will fly away, I say. Glint of blue jay, varied thrush, sprouting chickadee. When the wine is finally drained away, it reveals a drawing of a boy pulling down a man to kiss him. By then, the drinker is already drunk, and he will see what he wants to see. Queerness pinned to a body when originally there was none. As a pregame, I attend a local synagogue where they celebrate Shabbat. The rabbi sitting next to me smiles as his wine overflows onto the tablecloth below. Watching him, I wonder if he too is afraid of what the cup will show when the wine is drained away. This next one is titled Excavation. Soon, they will bring their trowels, squirrel hairbrushes, mother-blessed tin buckets, faces hoping to discover the next ash-blanketed town. In uncovering, they will find stubbed toes, loneliness faking exuberance, passports lazily stamped. It is in the discovery which makes something valuable, the way it is wanted in nonchalance. Egg yolk unbroken, cane sugar dissolved and drunk, weed smoked to the bitter roach, bean sprouts wiggling out of bike tracks, buried for us. Toy trucks, Dragon Ball Z DVDs, lumpia so hot it melts the styrofoam plates it rests on. Yes, these are things plastic and recognizable and made for us both. So the next few poems are new, and they are for and about my partner. And unfortunately, he's not able to be here, but he is watching online. So this is for you, Yash. This one is titled Having a Sharbat with You, and it's after Frank O'Hara. So here we go. Having a Sharbat with you is even more luscious than rosé with ice cubes clinking like tiny sailboats against the glass's rim, because for all the heat's endlessness, I imagine you too desired the melting when you read Having a Coke with You in the butter-soft light of your bedroom, legs crossed as though we were children mothering a baby sparrow within our palms. One day, when it untucks its muddy brown wings, I want you to make a nest in my hair. Some parts can be yours, of course, so that when we're dancing at the Abbey and my awkward limbs attempt to match yours, the sparrow, brightened by green and pink and blue lasers, will perch on your shoulder and I'll forget the anxiety knocking my knees together. I dreamt of you last Monday when I woke up at 2 a.m. to write it down. So I didn't forget how you were poised on the Redondo beachfront, listening to a man with a 10-foot picket sign preach about how he'd met an intersex couple on a surfing trip, a lesbian couple who drove in the brackish waters to save him, another of a black science fiction writer who wrote poems to her partner while I was fiddling with a pole for a tent, I planned to pitch somewhere out on the warm sand and your back to me. And I knew the type of love the preacher was talking about. I was looking at him. And you were waiting for me to bend down and join you. Only I needed to set up the tent before you got sunburnt. I'm not sure if that's love. I'm new to all of this. But it felt like it. It felt like love because you were there. Then, once we spent an hour baking on each side, you made the both of us sharbuts in the shade of the tent, setting out a third glass for the little sparrow which had grown into a teenager. What's painful is it ends before I can kiss you. Dreams do that to me, keep me in wanting, so that when I wake up, there is an emptiness left open, waiting for you to arrive. This final poem is a little bit of a longer one, and it's titled Dead Mall Theory. Inside the mall, now a dead thing, shop workers pass us lotion samples touched by 100 hands, bath bombs, and candles smelling of cardamom, possibly lavender. His mother and Nani in front of us, our hands hidden behind our backs. Maybe they know, or if they don't, they have a sense. One day, I imagine myself saying into his earlobe, they'll need to hear it from you. They touch the dresses, appraise the fabric, intuit the pear-shaped hips, the saffron red lip gloss that will marry him. They look at us like friends because we say as such. We shower together to save water. We sleep together to keep from the chill. What exists can be explained away because, of course, we are practical men. At night, after, his mother calls from half a world away. He answers in the dark, my body and voice tucked out of view, only his face lit by his phone as he smiles at her, replies in Hindi, laughs the warmth into the room. I grip his elbow tight, feeling at once the vertigo when I hear my name from his mother, from him. I cannot know their conversation, the wonder. At my aunt's house, he plays catch with my nephew, plucking a plush baseball from the air. In the future, crystallizing before us, when he mentions we are the gunkles hopping around on his knees, playing monkey in the middle, and he and my nephews and all of us laugh and eat and do the family things. Auntie, I say, while his mother compares silks, golden jewelry, some 80s pop song echoing in the mall's caverns. If I were a woman, that would change things, right? I don't know what she says. The mall is imaginary. The mall is denial. It is a foundation. If I were a woman, he wouldn't be able to love me. My imagination tells the imagination of her. And then we're driving from Santa Monica to Hollywood. Real this time. His mother pressing us on how we met, and he distracts with his knowledge of Shakespeare, cravings for a Shake Shack burger, the conditions which create a rogue planet within a 2-star system, that rocky thing flung far from family. If a mall is no longer real, is it still in orbit? If a mall dies and no one is there to witness, does it make a sound? His mother and I are in the mall as it collapses, the walls crumbling into plushy baseballs, our hands grasping for monkeys, their tails slipping like lips against saffron. I showed him a family, A real one this time. The mall down the street from my house is alive. I go there after work sometimes. The food court, the seas, the massage chairs lively, everything pumping with good blood. I look at the couples there. I give his mother chocolates. I watch YouTube videos of explorers breaking into dead malls. Thank you.
Thank you, Maxwell. Our next reader is Jarrell Watkins. Jarrell Watkins is from Richmond, Virginia. His disability inclusive play, Meet Us at the Horizon, was produced by Combined Efforts Theater Co. for its 2019 world premiere. His chapbook, If Only the Sharks Would Bite, won the inaugural Desert Pavilion Chapbook Prize in Poetry. I knew that was going to happen. Poetry, Black Rock Press, 2020. He is also the co-author of Studies in Brotherly Love, Prompt Press, 2021. A chapbook based on Malcolm Corley's paintings with Claretta Halsey, DJ Savasi, and Lateef McLeod. Oh, my goodness, McLeod. His debut full-length collection, Playhouse, was published by Northwestern University Press in 2024. Everyone, please give a round of applause for Jarrell Watkins.
Gotta adjust this thing right quick. Maybe I'll just do it like this. How's it going? Good? Thank you, Genesis, for the lovely introduction. It's great to be back here beyond Baroque. Also, Mitchell, I want to just echo a lot of things what Darren's been saying. I was a first-year student at USC when Mitchell was a fourth-year student. And I'm a bit nervous to say this in front of my chair. But oftentimes, too, at USC, sometimes once you met that third year, you know, the fourth year students kind of duck off, do their own research or dissertation. But Mitchell was very present in the USC community and was someone who I really looked up to as far as how to be a scholar, how to be a writer in the program. So I really appreciate you, Mitchell. You showed up for me many times with my debut for my book. And so I'm glad to be here with you, too, as well. I have 3 poems right quick, just 3 because I get a little verbose up here. So I want to talk about like summer poems. So summer is happening now, and I feel like as writers, we have an affinity towards a certain season, right? My affinity is towards winter, but I have summer poems in this collection. So I'm trying to figure that out with the next one. And the first one I'm going to start with is for my father. His birthday was June 9th. I tried to call him. He didn't pick up. So hopefully he'll hear this poem in the ether. It's called Cut the Grass. When you are standing over the mower, sweat sizzling and grease and sludge coalesced by evening sun, as she, with teeth brimming, hands you a rag, will you have cut the grass? When you apply WD-40 to blades, pour gasoline down pipe and yank machine to life, she'll tell you that you are hers and she is yours. When the grass no longer dances in the wind, crickets leap over anthills, roots sprawl about like thoughts of marriage and family, spring will come. If you want to be loved as blades of steel colliding with blades of grass, you must cut the grass. Cut the grass until crickets believe they're flying when they leap. Cut the grass and release the pheromones of combusted oil. Cut the grass and see fertile dirt that wants to nurture your seed. If you don't, the mower will rust under the fall of summer's rain. Thoughts of lost family will wince your soil. She'll hold the rag in her hands. The grass between you will grow dense as teeth. Oh yeah, I don't have to clap, it's all good. I appreciate it though. Actually, it might give me a second to get some water, so I actually want to do a little snap. Thank you. So this next poem, still thinking about summer. Let's go back in time, maybe to the 2000s, right? I'm from the South. I'm from Richmond, Virginia. That is the South, if you didn't know. And so I remember back when I was younger, all the boys wanted to wear like these huge white tees, right? And I mean by like triple XL, like all the way down to your knees, right? And I didn't know what it was about, and I felt like it was a fad, but there was a sense of protection in Black and brown boys wearing these white tees, right? You go out to the basketball courts, you go out to school, and everyone has the same shirt on. So if something happened, you would know who did it because they all look the same, right? There's some danger in it too, but there was a reason why we were in these white tees. So thinking about that and writing an ode, like a poem to honor something, I wanted to honor that part of my life and the white tee. Of the white tee. Bruh, ain't a new white tee the most necessary dress to boom a black boy's joy? Don't he look so fresh and clean? His white tee nearly kisses his knees. Veiled by his name brand jeans will saddle the heels of his Air Force Ones. Ain't this the gown for him to stroll down the block, past shorties rocking hoops around their hips and ears, past homies fixing a J in the laces of their J's, past junkies sucking the blues from a bottle of needle dry. Want those folks dazzled by his gleam. Yo, don't he almost glow into an angel before Soul Street light shines a halo out of the basketball rim under which other white tees will join him, and tossing the rock once swung between the archway of someone's legs, then flung from half court by a tee who's too short to play center but has a jumper that makes the whole backboard thunder. Don't their bird chests swell? For a moment of breathlessness, feeling free in their white tees. From the description that matches them all. These boys flock away as doves at the burst of noise that sounds like anything but their joy. Okay, I know I have one more poem, but my timer says it's 5, so I might do one more. We'll see how I feel after this. Actually, I'm excited for Mitchell's work. This will be the last one. Okay. So, I'm a Pisces, so that means I'm a hopeless. That means I'm a hopeless romantic, apparently, right? So, and unlike, I think the winter time is when I find myself. The summertime is when myself kind of gets unwound a little bit. And so, think about that. Think about the winter, affinity, summer, hopeless romantic, Pisces. So, I drive through July showers. Have you ever stopped at a light and hope it didn't turn green? That your car will soak the velvet luminescence and become the lover that sponged passion from your touch? Have you ever touched something and felt it withdraw, like a poorly aligned steering wheel veering far from the right? Would you feel right if tailgate passes you in speed up rage while you abide by cautious eyes, ensuring the safety of those around you? Would you feel safe under scalding rain that croons about a love to die for? Might you think to twist dial and seek a beat that will soothe you? Maybe you'll study windshield wipers in idleness and stir about a sway. Unlike splattered raindrops, smeared lipstick stains hazy in print. It looks just like the rosy mist of stoplight radiance striking vapor risen from a running car's hood. If this light turns green, how would you know when to stop moving on? Thank you.
And now it's my turn to adjust the mic because I'm a munchkin. It's okay. Thank you, Jarrell. And now it is time for the man of the hour. Mitchell Jacobs is a PhD candidate at the University of Southern California, where he has served as a managing editor of Ricochet Editions. His poems have won the Iowa Review Prize and the Purfur Prize from Pallades. His debut book of poems, Rogue Astronaut, University of Arkansas Press 2026, was selected by Patricia Smith as a finalist in the Miller Williams Poetry Series. Please, everyone, give it up for Mitchell.
Thank everyone so much for being here. It means a lot to me. I know you have other options for your Friday night. You could be in West Hollywood. I'm sure they have great Pride events. Or you could be doing the opposite of Pride, which is watching the U.S. play Paraguay in the World Cup. I did have to look that up in order to make this joke. The last time I checked, we were winning, but maybe that's changed while poetry was happening. Thank you to all my co-readers and also for your very kind words. It means a lot. And know that I invited you here because I admire your poems very much. I'm excited to be here at Beyond Baroque. I've been to a number of events here, but now I get to be behind the podium. And I'm also excited to be here in the Wanda Coleman Theater because Wanda Coleman is one of the very, very first poets that I read back in middle school. Not because they assigned her in suburban Minnesota, but because we had an assignment to go online and find some poems. And I found her poems, especially her poem Mastectomy, which is how I learned what that was. And they weren't like what we were reading in class, and I liked them very much. So this means a lot to me. So this book takes as kind of a central motif and event my dad's alien abduction experience, which I remain kind of agnostic to. Like I'm not a big skeptic about it, you know. So that runs through it, and there's kind of a space alien theme that intersects with kind of the mundane Midwestern life as well. But the first poem in the book is called Abduction. It hovered in slow wind while he stood still as slate, clenching his bicycle's handlebars. Its billowing feathers were planes of its flesh encroaching briefly from a different manner of space. It could see belief invading him, saw his organs laid open like an atlas, surging tributaries of adrenaline, his heart, that citadel of sensitivity, quickening, billions of neurons unscanned into a single silver filament, taut. It kept unfurling into entireties of itself to teach him with its body true sight, to pry the latent sense up from his cells. Then its convolution swerved into a sphere of many roundnesses. He felt the same shape roll along his interior, knee, scrotum, clavicle, cheek, like wet fire. He spasmed, groaned, saw now it had no size, but was, on another scale, vast, looming like its own sky, beyond some boundary. Holiness was simply this hugeness, which arrives as a wind from elsewhere. To behold, to be held in the sinews of its knowing. It cradled the lack of holiness in him like a topaz that it took as he lurched into the viscous light. Dumb dead dad. And me here eating off-brand Raisin Bran and liking it. It is my favorite. I am not good at being angry, not when a steel spoon offers me my globular upside-down face. Its rim scratches my tongue's easy itch. I admit, Earth could have been a little bigger. Its mountains not so sharp, more fruits. They want to build a colony on Mars. They will suffocate in burnt sienna. They want to build a colony among the clouds of Venus. They will suffocate in atomic tangerine. Forests burn each day, and still I am so stupid happy. I take naps and I sneeze into the sun. I am sorry for mortgages and vodka. I am sorry you wanted things with rigors, like love and children and the intricate talismans kept by men. Tell me now, as you rinse off in some emerald brook, what habitat could have nourished you? What planet can you finally call home? So you know in poetry not everything is necessarily true, but I do sneeze into the sun when I go out into the sun. This next one is called Rogue Astronaut. It's the title poem. Space is not exotic, up close. Beyond my helmet glass, lunar craters etch no face. The scarred topography of Mars reveals no marvelous canals. Just the cold drama of matter colliding with itself unawares. Bright, dumb comets. At first, I'd yearned to cavort through a primordial carnival, enrobed in nebulas, dyed pink and gold. At first, I'd readied bone and muscle for survival and return, for cradling again a man more elegant than mathematics, for kneeling to conifers before they all unravel into ash. 8 little planets suckling the sun's heat? No, they're rock, ice, gas. Blur my vision, and even Earth dissolves into void. Human culture was like eating, a rich, unsightly dream. I can't recall if I cut my tether on purpose, an urge to trade everything for dark. I've honed myself into one vector, drifting windless beyond galaxies, connected to the never-to-be-known by the material of vacuum. There is nothing between me and the most distant pulse. If other life exists, I arrive alone, loosed from language, gender, the memory of touch, headed for that absolute expanse where neither day nor night nor twilight can unmake me. Okay, so this next one, when I turned it into a workshop, the general consensus was, is this a poem? And I decided that it is a poem, and I put it in the book. Mustache. She has fallen in love with Groucho Marx, specifically with his character Mr. Hammer in The Coconuts, or rather with the actor playing Mr. Hammer in the stage production downtown. 3 times she's watched him cavort amid the plywood tropics, throwing himself about with nimble buffoonery, zesting the air with puns. At home, she mimes gags in the mirror, her limbs waving like palm leaves in a sudden warm gust. When her roommate walks in, she explains, "I'm doing Zumba." She sips cocoa from a mug with a mustache printed on the rim, watching the snow pile up. The lawn flamingos, buried, blushing through. Furtively, she purchases a hammer. How she yearns to be the checkered vest and pinstripe pants that hug his spindly frame. Dare she imagine static charge between his bushy eyebrows, his sharp-witted tongue pressed softly to her throat? With Sharpie, she draws a nose and spectacles above her pubic hair, teasing into herself a plastic cigar. The last show, she brings her bright orange purse and finds a vacant seat up front. The scene comes where he scurries down into the audience to steal something, and then it is happening. He is grabbing the purse from her lap. Inside, he finds only a pair of Groucho glasses. She has outwitted him. He stares at them, puts them on, and everyone laughs. When he looks back at her, she is wearing a pair of her own. The distance between them has vanished. It is like she is kissing him from inside his own face. All right, I switched things up a little, and I'm going to read the poem that Darren mentioned. My ex-boyfriend asked to make a silicone replica so he can take me with him when he moves abroad next week. I have to stay hard as the mold hardens, so he leans over the tub and I kiss him harder. As the mold hardens, I feel it clench and I kiss him harder. I squeeze his ass, press against his hole. I feel it clench. Now reluctant to let go, I squeeze against his ass, press against his hole, but time is up. Now reluctant to let go, the mold holds my form, but time is up. We marvel at the detail of its negative space. The mold holds my form in my absence. We marvel at the detail of its negative space. He could even thrust into this in my absence. It's smooth, has enough give. He could even thrust into this to savor the contour of our difference. It's smooth, has enough give. I could pour the gel into his hollow to savor the contour of our difference, fill myself with his silicone inverse. I could pour the gel into his hollow, or use this one we worked so hard to make, fill it with my silicone double. He could take the real me tonight, or use this one we worked so hard to make, his souvenir. He could take the real me tonight, while I clench around the shape of his souvenir. I could kiss him goodbye, hard, while I clench around the shape of what I bury in him. All right, fittingly, the next one is called Foreplay. Oh, his sweet, small cuss. Shit, sorry I need you, he said, pausing to check for a bruise. I know you need me, I grinned, having never been sexy, only clever, even if it meant bending the truth. Then he pressed his fist to my chest, kneading me. Sometimes when I am dead to language, I remember this. All right, and one more. It's a bit longer. The thing to know about this one is if you haven't seen the John Carpenter horror film The Thing from 1982, it's one of my very favorite movies. The gist is that there is an alien that crash lands in Antarctica and attacks a research station. And we never see its true form, or if it has a true form, because it's a perfect shapeshifter. So while it's shifting, it transforms into all sorts of horrifying blood and guts. But when it finishes transforming, it's a perfect replica. So you never know if you're talking to the real person or if it's actually the thing. Tonight, I am any body and no body at all. Is there other life? I stare out my shower's window through Orion's polygonal window into deeper void. And do they have something like ass hair that they hate on themselves and scrape away? My Milky Way of blood and cream swirls down the drain. I lie down, human and smooth, for just myself and this psychedelic gummy cube and the vibrator's futuristic curve. Rocket me away. Think, they might not feel pleasure, or the chemical mirage that pleasure is, or shame, or thirst. But is that conscious life? Self-conscious life? I need to know I'm not alone in needing to know I'm not alone. The Hubble Deep Field's bacterial swarm of galaxies promises that life repeats a billion-fold at every scale. And isn't it cruel not to feel for their betrayals and firework histories and arsenic-based emotions just because they're far away and might not exist? When I get high like this, I have so much empathy, it stretches hot toward eternity and runs out of things to enter. Is there other life? Only in this state can I 100% believe there is. There's the thing from the thing, hopping star to star, no form of its own, only what it borrows, sneaking into evolutions to wear their jewels. Skin and wing and shell and breath, then moving on. Ultimate space queer, all costume, stripping off everything but knowledge. Some humans, I think, could humble themselves to that invader, to kneel, be absorbed, to try on another body as it tries on yours. I've seen the need in people's eyes, that tiny wet gloss in the dark. I've shown that need. It never quite comes real. We come apart, still whole. The oily membrane around the self heals shut. Once someone gripped a tangle of my chest hair, said I could get lost in this, and I was distracted from trying to get lost in the shape of him, compact, requiring less from this melting world. Pressing him to me, I felt I was small, smaller than anything, and also I was huge, huger than him, as huge as a world. Trying to escape the planet of myself, I invaded a lot of different people for a time, and part of them didn't survive it. Their hearts burst out and scuttled away from me on crab's legs. Their skulls opened into fleshy flowers and tried to swallow my face in vengeance, and part of me didn't survive it. Some substance twirls around some star that is not flesh or nerve or brain or throat, but is what it is and lives to live, and I am on the verge of crumbling into understanding it. Tonight, how I adore all my former lovers. I want to kiss their foreheads while they sleep and pull their blankets up a little bit, as if it is my place to do that. My grand tour of affection before what? Before I go hazy and bright and float into the sky to become a constellation. And sometimes, at just the right slant of October, I am visible above the tree-ragged horizon, and they look out from their porches and think, we all loved him, didn't we? Tonight, I am any body and no body at all, exploding into an infinity of crab nebulas that scuttle into every nook of every heaven we might never reach. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone, again for attending tonight's launch for Rogue Astronaut. Can I please have one more round of applause for our readers? And then I'm going to steal all of the readers for a photo, but for the rest of the audience, please make your way into the bookstore and check out the variety of books we have here at Beyond Baroque. And please also enjoy our reception. The cookies are really good. Thank you again for being here. Okay, I'm gonna move this because it's gonna stress me out in the photo. Or not. Awesome, that's so delicious. Oh, Susan.
I know this will be my copy.
Okay. Beautiful, everyone. Get it close like you like each other. Oh my god.